Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining on time. I know we are 5 minutes top of the schedule, but yeah, I appreciate each and everyone for joining on time. So before I start the session, I would like to just recap one more time. So the batch timings are Monday to Saturday, morning 6 to 7:30 India time. And if you're joining from United States, the scheduled timings will be 8:30 to 10 p.m. Sunday to Friday Eastern time. Okay, I repeat one more time. Monday to Saturday, morning 6 to 7:30. It's the schedule. There won't be any changes in it. And if you're from states, Sunday to Friday, 8 to 8:30 to 10 p.m. Eastern are the session timings. Also, I would like to give a quick recap on what's being covered in the previous session. So what we covered in the previous session is we have seen the list of tools that we are going to cover as a part of the training. And then we have seen what is the current business standard and what is the current business that is going on in the space of information technology, and what sort of applications have huge demand in the industry. And out of that, we have sorted web applications and client-based applications are the two type of applications. And among all, web-based applications has huge space of development and a huge opportunity. And using different technologies, development teams is going to develop the web application as per the business use case. So we are going to pick a couple of web applications as per the current business and demands in mind. And also we have seen in order to host these applications on the top of some server, a server is nothing but a big hardware. We need to host these applications on the top of some server. A server is nothing but a big computer. In order to host, in order to run multiple servers, we need to have some private place to run your servers and where you are going to run your applications on the top of the servers. And for that, we need to have a data center in place. So data center is a place where you are going to host all your infrastructure. Also, we have discussed that, okay, what are the standards that we need to follow in order to maintain a data center? And we concluded that maintaining a data center is a big deal because it involves a lot of calculations, a lot of planning, and it also includes something called as a capital intensive task called as hardware refresh. Okay, we also discussed what is hardware refresh and what is cloud and why the business of cloud came into picture and who is the one who has started the business of cloud and who is a major player in the cloud. So we concluded that 75 to 80% of the market share is AWS. So because they have the first customer advantage, and at the same time, AWS is known for providing the best customer support. So because of that, tremendous majority of the market share. When I say majority, more than 75% of the market share in the cloud space, or 75 to 80% of the customers on cloud who are consumers of cloud are on the top of AWS. Also, we have seen when you are consuming cloud, you are going to consume the services. And when you want to consume the service, they are offering business in the form of either infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service. Also, we have seen what exactly infrastructure as a service, what is PaaS, what is SaaS, and also we have given some examples out of it. And these cloud business models, while selecting the infrastructure as a service or platform as a service or software as a service, we have seen that it is a shared responsibility model based on the type of responsibility that we are going to take care. So it's going to come up. For example, if you are managing everything of your own, which is nothing but a typical data center model, data center is also called as on-prem. In that case, you're responsible for maintaining your network, storage, servers, virtualization, operating system, applications, runtime, data, and your middleware. End to end, you are going to be responsible. Okay. For example, if you are consuming an infrastructure as a service, where consuming hardware from Amazon, Amazon is going to take care of, okay, networking, storage, server, and virtualization. You are responsible for maintaining the operating system, application, data, all these things. Again, it's a shared responsibility model. In the infrastructure as a service, Amazon is giving you the hardware where they are responsible for maintaining the hardware. And you as an engineer is responsible for maintaining the rest of the things. For example, if you are consuming a service that is of model PaaS, it's also called as a platform as a service. In that case, Amazon is going to give you all the required things that are required to run your application. So all you consider or do is you just develop your applications and you deploy it on the top of the environment or the platform given by your service provider. Your service provider can be anyone, Amazon Cloud or Google Cloud or Azure Cloud. Here in this case, your network, server, hardware, operating system, middleware, runtime. Runtime is nothing but platform. Everything are going to be managed or administered. You don't have access to that. Will be completely managed by your provider. When you're considering about SaaS solution, top to bottom, there Amazon is going to, or the cloud provider is going to consider it. You just need to consume the service that you're looking for. That's all. So considering this diagram, Which will be a costly solution? Which will be a less costly solution? Anyone? Whosoever wants to talk, they can raise your hand. Anyone? Or let me send you a poll. Which is a costly solution? Which will have higher billing? Anyone? I just sent a poll. Just try to answer it, guys. Which among these is a inexpensive solution? What you're thinking? Your cloud provider, for which of the solution they'll charge more? Option 1 or option 2 or option 3? I just sent a poll. Okay, all right. I got okay. So which one will be higher billing? Which among the service will have higher billing? Okay, I'm getting the votes. Let me print the voting. This is the response. So 32% are telling infrastructure as a service is a higher billing, and 58% of the people are telling SaaS is a costly solution. Yes. Why? Because in the shared responsibility model, your billing is based on how much responsibility you're taking. So if you don't have a good engineering team or good infrastructure team, people will be inclined towards PaaS model. Okay. So if you're having good infrastructure team, if you're having good cloud team or good infrastructure team, people prefer going with infrastructure as a service. If you don't have the team who manages the infrastructure, if you just have development team, people go with PaaS model. Okay. It all depends on, it's a trade-off, what you can afford versus what you have. So we have discussed this, and at the same time, what else we have discussed yesterday? We also discussed that, okay, we also discussed that why in the space of cloud and DevOps, why huge number of jobs are there. So we have also concluded that due to the factor that almost all the companies are not interested in migrating or refreshing the hardware, and if they want to eliminate a lot of human power, they want to migrate to cloud, because cloud is a inexpensive solution or capital intensive application. All right. So yeah, anything else? Okay. All right. Now, in order to learn all these tools, okay, yesterday we have concluded that in order to learn all these tools that we have mentioned, what is the first thing that we need to learn? Just by looking at the diagram, what is the first thing that you need to learn? If you want to learn, or if you want to start your cloud journey, or if you want to start your DevOps journey, the very first thing that we expect people to start with is Linux. Okay, this is the first thing that we expect everyone to start with. If you already have Linux knowledge, that's awesome. If you don't have Linux knowledge, that's also okay, because we are going to start from there. Okay, so Linux is the first thing that we need to start. So Linux is nothing but an operating system, just like your Windows operating system. Similarly, Linux is also an operating system. But in operating system, there are two varieties of operating systems, guys. Okay, so in the operating system space, there are two types of operating systems. Okay, so there are two types of operating systems in general. So one type of operating system is GUI, which is nothing but graphical user interface. And next thing is command line interface. Okay, so a classic example of graphical user interface is Windows, and a classic example of graphical command line interface is Linux. So what is graphical user interface and what is command line interface? Graphical interface, a classic example of graphical user interface is Windows. So when you say graphical user interface, you get some nice options, right? Like when you say nice options, in Windows, if you want to create a file, what you do, you click a right click and you say, I want to create a file, and you'll create a file and you save it. If you want to delete a file, you'll right click the file, you'll delete it. And if you want to rename the file, you'll right click the file, you rename it, right? Similarly, for example, if you want to shut down the machine, what you do, you come here, you click the power on button, you'll click any option of your choice. So all the options that you're seeing are called graphics. So if the interface works on graphics, okay, it consumes more amount of resources to display this unit. Okay, and at the same time, this type of interface is referred as graphical user interface, and the other type of operating system is command line operating system. Okay, so I'm going to open a terminal. Okay, if you don't know what is this terminal, that's absolutely fine. So for example, if I want to list the files that are present in my desktop, I'll say ls is a command. It is going to show you the list of all the files that are present in the machine. Similarly, if you want to delete something, you use a command. Similarly, if you want to rename something, you use a command. Everything. You shut down the machine, you create a file, you delete a file, you change the property of the file, everything you do it in the form of commands. Okay, and that type of operating system is called as command line operating system. Okay, so Windows falls under the category of, okay, Windows falls under the category of, okay, your Windows is a example of graphical user interface. So in the command line space, Linux is an example. So I'll ask you one question: which operating system is, what is the famous operating system? Anyone? 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 Any answers? Anyone? What is the famous? What is the famous operating system? Okay, I could see Windows, lot of Windows operating system, Windows, Windows. Let me send a poll. What is the famous OS? What is the famous OS that you are aware of? So I just sent a poll. Anyone? I'll just share you the results. As per you, what is the famous operating system, or which is highly used operating system? Which is the famous operating system? As per you, with respect to enterprise. I just sent a poll. Anyone? I just sent a poll. Which is a famous operating system that you are aware of? What is the famous operating system? Okay, all right. So 68%, 80, 70%, 65% of the people reported that it is. Okay, so yeah, let me share the result again. So here 32% of the people reported, okay, 32% of the people in the poll reported. Okay, so 29% Windows, and 65% of the people reported Linux. Yes, this is the first batch where I have seen people saying that Linux is a very famous and highly adopted. 99% of the times the results will come reverse. Okay, so I think this is a good batch which we have some good technical people. So yes, in the space of operating system, Linux is a top player. Okay, what if I say 99% of the enterprise infrastructure is CLI, and that too, it's Linux. So obviously learning Linux is inevitable. You cannot avoid it. And it is a mandatory in order to have a successful career in Linux, in order to have a successful career in cloud and DevOps space, this is the first thing that anyone expects you. Okay. Even if you don't know cloud, or even if you don't know DevOps, that's fine. If you have Linux knowledge, a lot of companies even hire you. Okay, for example, if you are applying for companies like Amazon, if they want to hire you as a cloud support engineer, even if you don't know this cloud aspects or anything, they might give you an opportunity if you have Linux knowledge. Because when you join such companies, they want you to have strong Linux knowledge so that they can train you on the product. Also, in future, if any of the new tool comes up, whatever the tools that we learn, if they get exhausted, and if the new tool comes up, if you don't know Linux, you cannot learn them of your own. Okay, learning Linux or being strong in Linux ensures that you can learn majority of the things of your own, and at the same time, it gives you the opportunity to clear majority of the interviews. So keeping this context in mind, I would like to start our training with Linux. Okay, as 99% of the enterprise infrastructure is on the top of Linux. Okay, you don't have to believe me. Just go with the internet and search for uh, search for Linux usage consumption, Linux usage, or operating system utilization, OS or usage statistics. So, or just type this way, usage of operating systems. Just go with the wiki. So you believe in wiki, right? Usage of operating system, just say Wikipedia. Okay, just go with any sort of images. So if you go here, I have some nice image. Where is that? Usage share of operating system. Look at the images. Yeah, this is a very popular image. You would see this in majority of the presentations. Okay, for example, they have given you a graph, okay, telling you the overall utilization of the available operating system across the world from 1990 to 2020, but they haven't shown after 2020. Okay, this image is up to 2020. That means still COVID. If you see this in 1990, here blue indicates Unix. Okay, what is Unix? Again, we'll talk about it. But if you see this, green indicates Linux. That means from 1995, after 1995, some magic happened. Slowly, they have raised it from 0 to 99%. So, which also meant 99.99% of the utilization of enterprise grade is completely on the top of command line, and that too, it's Linux. Okay, so I'll also tell you why Linux is very famous. Okay, why Linux has dominated the usage of Windows. I also want to give you some nice example. So because the first reason why it became famous is, let's talk about Bill. Let's talk about who is the richest person in the world, guys. If not now, usually when you're a kid, since the time you know things, who was the richest person for a longer time? Who was the richest person for a longer time? Anyone? Anyone? Who was the richest person for a longer time? I could see. Who was the richest person for a longer time, guys? Okay. Okay, perfect. Majority of the people said it's Bill Gates. Anyone can tell me why richest Bill Gates is the richest person for a very long time? It's because of the licensing model. Okay, the licensing model that he introduced for Windows is the only thing that made him as the richest person for a very long time. So let me talk about how the licensing model in Windows works. So, and with respect to how licensing model in other operating system works, that gives you a nice vision on how the billing at enterprise works. Okay, so it all started with, again, a command line operating system. So let me share this. Okay, so in 1970s and 75s, okay, when when Bill Gates has started the company called as Microsoft, he introduced an operating system called as MS-DOS. Again, this is also an operating system, which is a command line operating system, which is again not free. If you want to use it, you need to pay. Okay, it's a command line operating system. Even till 2005, 2010, majority of the computers has DOS. DOS is a command line operating system which can run on any hardware, but at the same time, you need to pay for it. Okay, you need to pay for it. But again, since it is paid, okay, you don't have much stability or the capability to run complex applications. So, but again, in 1985, some magic happened. Okay, so a new operating system called as Unix originated. Okay, a new operating system called as Unix originated in United States back in 1985, or I don't remember the date. Okay, 1985 or something. So Unix is also a command line operating system. But if you want to run Unix operating system, you need to have a dedicated hardware. For example, what exactly I meant is, if you want to use Windows operating system like Windows 8 or Windows 10 or Windows 11, you can buy the laptop from any vendor of your choice, right? That means you can buy a Dell laptop, or you can also buy a Lenovo laptop, or you can also buy a Sony laptop, or you can also buy an Acer laptop, right? So the operating system, that means the software can run on any hardware. there is no relation between it, right? Similarly, if you want to run your Android operating system on your mobile, you can run it on Samsung mobile, or you can run it on Vivo mobile, or you can also run it on Poco mobile, any mobile of your choice, right? Here, the software and hardware are manufactured by different vendors, so there is no dependency between them, right? But Unix doesn't work that way. If you want to use a Unix operating system, you need to have a Unix hardware. Okay, that means operating system. If you want to run the Unix operating system, so you need to buy the Unix hardware. Okay, so that means the software provider, okay, the software provider and the hardware provider are same. Okay, are same. So if hardware and software are from the same provider, definitely it will have some strong integrations, and definitely it has some very tight integrations, which gives very high stability. And that's one of the reason, if you see Android phones, they claim that they have 16 GB of RAM and 32 GB RAM. Still, it cannot give competition to your iPhones, right? iPhones barely use 1 GB, 2 GB RAM, but still nothing can beat iPhone. Why? Because of the tight integration, because of the operating system and the hardware. Since both of them are manufactured by the same Apple company, they know they know how to establish tight integration, and they are tightly coupled with each other, which gives the most stability to the product. And at the same time, you would get an Android phone just for 10,000, but you need to pay minimum 50,000 to buy an iPhone, right? Keeping it a costly solution. Agree or not? Agree or not? Agree or not? Yes. So keeping that context in mind, okay, so the Unix operating system is very, very costly. Okay, since the hardware and software has to be bought from a single vendor. Okay, so Unix, the maintenance of Unix or the number of users who uses Unix are very, very high. Only the enterprise grade companies and schools in United States or universities can afford this Unix operating system. But at the same time, Unix is one of the best stable operating systems that I have ever seen till date. Okay, I have seen certain Unix machines which were being up from 20-25 years without even needing a restart. That means they bought a server and they installed Unix on the top of it, and they are running the applications from 20-25 years without even restarting the machine. They are running from 25-30 years, guys. That is the stability that Unix platform gives. But at the same time, it's a very, very costly. If you want to buy 100 Unix servers or 200 Unix servers or 1000 Unix servers, it's going to be a very costly thing, and no one can afford. Okay, so that type of operating system, it falls under the category of Unix. But yeah, the era of Unix was outdated slowly because of one person called as Linus Torvalds. Okay, so he's the man behind Linus Torvalds. Okay, so he's the man behind the okay, he's the man behind the sorry, he was the man behind the Linux operating system, and he's the one who introduced the concept of open source. He want to, keeping all these aspects in mind, hey, why, if I want to run an operating system, why I have to buy hardware from you? Why I have to pay licensing for it? So with all these ideas in mind, he want to create an operating system that is free for everyone, and everyone should have the capability to access the code of it. Okay, so guys, he started an open source project. He started an open source project called as Linux. Okay, and till date it is there. So usually, in order to develop any operating system, the toughest part of developing any operating system is writing its kernel. Kernel is nothing but the first layer of operating system, or the software of the operating system which interacts with the hardware is called as a kernel. Each and every operating system has their own kernel, and the kernel may be open source or may not be open source. So first of all, let's talk about what is an open source. What is an open source? Anyone? Anyone has an idea of what is an open source? Anyone would like to talk? What is an open source? Sai, go ahead. Anyone? Mukesh, go ahead. Let me take a note. What is an operating system?
Yeah, anybody who can contribute to it for its
Mhm.
development is
Mhm.
called as open source, I think.
That means code is open,
Yeah.
not proprietary. Can I consider that? Can I consider this way? The
Yeah.
code is
Yeah.
open, not
Yeah.
proprietary. Okay. Anyone else? Mukesh, Ajay, Sandeep, Vinay, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you can use their project without paying any licenses.
Okay. No need of license. Is that
Yes,
what you're
exactly.
telling?
Yes.
Okay. Again, we'll revise these points, but let's take the feedback from everyone. So Vinay, what do you say? Or
Yeah.
Sandeep? Anyone who has raised their hands?
Yeah, anyone want to upgrade the
Mhm.
code? He can easily means adding more features to the code. He can freely. Yeah,
Okay. Code is open. Can I consider this? Still,
yeah,
it falls under the category of
yeah,
code is
yeah,
open.
yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone else? All right. So code should be open, no need of license. Okay. So let's visit this point again. Before that, let me try to add what is kernel first. Linux kernel, because it's a very important interview question. Linux kernel. Okay, that is the first layer of any operating system, and that is a piece of software inside your operating system which interacts with the hardware. So Linus Torvalds, okay, he want to make a free CLI operating system. And it should have the capability that should run on any hardware. There should not be any dependency, and operating system should be open source, and it should be of type GNUX. Usually in the Linux space, there is something called as GNUX. You want to develop something which should look like Linux, but it should not be Unix. Okay, so generally not Unix. He want to develop something which is related, which is closely looking like, which gives the same functionality that Unix gives, but it should not be a Unix. So he want to develop something, a product which is GNUX, which means it is a product which is not Unix, but it gives you a feel of Unix. Okay, so this is the vision that Linus Torvalds has, and he started this project called as Linux kernel, and he want to make a free operating system which is CLI. Okay, so and again that falls under the category of open source. What is an open source? First thing, okay, whatever you guys said are 100% true. So second thing, when someone refers some project as open source, first thing, the code of the product should be open, which means it should not be proprietary, and no need of license. This may or may not be true all the time. So let's try to put it in orange color. May or may not need a license, but code should always be open. Okay, and even if you add some features, even if you add some features and rebrand it, still it has to be, which means the code should still be open. That means you as an engineer, okay, felt something can be added as per your requirement. You developed some features, but you cannot say that, hey, I developed this, I added the feature, I want to keep it proprietary. No, the code should always be open. Okay, the code should always be open. That is the first idea behind generating any operating system. The code should always be open, and you should have the ability and capability to add any features of your choice, and may or may not need license. May or may not need license. Okay, usually this licensing goes this way. If you are using the product just for something, okay, if you are using the product and making money out of it, then you need to pay. Then you might need to pay. Okay, so if you are making money out of an open source project, definitely there are certain open source projects where they request or demand you to pay licensing fee. Okay, so if someone says there is an open source project, it is not always true that it is 100% free. Okay, keep this point in mind. So when someone refers the project is open source, that means it's not proprietary. Windows is a proprietary operating system. You don't have any visibility on what is there inside the code or how it is written, what it is there. You don't have any visibility. If you want to add any features, sorry, you can't do that. It should come through Microsoft because it is a proprietary software. For example, Linux is an operating system. Since it is an open source, there are 300 plus vendors or 300 plus different officially recognized versions or flavors in Linux, guys. Okay, so there are 300 plus flavors or distributions in Linux. Okay, I'm going to use a new word called as flavors and distribution. What it is, let me tell you. There are varieties of. Okay, flavor is a common word that is used in the Linux community. Flavors or distributions in Linux. Okay, what is a distribution or a flavor in Linux? Okay, let's consider there are 300 plus different vendors who supplies this Linux. Since it is an open source, okay, everyone who wants some features, they just take the operating system and they add the feature of their choice and they are going to rebrand it. Okay, so in that space, there are majorly in Linux, there are two types of variants. One is Red Hat based operating system, Red Hat based Linux, and another is Ubuntu based Linux or Debian is the right word. Whatever the operating systems or whatever the 300 plus operating systems that you see that are cloned either from the Red Hat operating system or from the Debian operating system. Okay, so either it will be from that or this. So okay, so there are 300 plus distributions in Linux. That means Red Hat is an operating system name. Okay, Red Hat is the name of the company who distributes the Linux. Okay, who distributes the Linux under the Red Hat name. Okay, so Red Hat is known for one of the best possible support, guys. If I ask you if you want to buy a product, okay, so if I ask you guys if you want to buy a product, what is the first thing that you look at it? If you want to buy a product, there are a lot of variants in the product that you have, but if you want to buy a product that can be a software or hardware, anything, if you want to buy a product, what you look at it? Anyone who'd like to answer? Anyone? I could see three hands raised.
Features
Okay, features.
and support.
Nice. Features, support. Those two are 100% true. Anything else?
Yeah, it will fulfill our requirements or not.
Okay, features.
Yeah.
Whether it fulfill our requirement or
Yeah.
not. Anyone else? Sandeep, Sai, I could see your hands raised. Go ahead, Ram. What else you look at it if you want to select a product? If you join any company and you have some requirement and you're being asked to select one product among all, how you make a decision is very important when you're applying for mid-level roles or senior roles. Okay, so I want you to be very clear on what basis you will select a product. One person said features, I'm 100% true. Support, 100% true. Anyone else? Sumana, Srimati?
Price or the cost of it?
Cost matters a lot. Anything else? Price,
And
cost.
I will, yeah, and I would, compare with other products to see if this is the best one for me.
Yeah. So you compare, right? You compare like what is the price that are offered from X product and what Y offers. Why I need to choose X if it is costly. If it is not costly, why it is not costly. What I want versus what they offer. Am I right? It's a trade-off.
Yes.
So you whatever you want. Okay. And what else? Shrikant, I could see your hand raised. Karthik. Anyone else? Tejasvi. What else? What else you'll consider when you are trying to buy any product?
Hi, Manoj.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mainly security.
We consider
Security.
quality also, sir.
Perfect. Quality or quality again falls under the category of features and support. Okay, quality of the product. Okay, again this falls under the category of how best is the product. Let's consider this way, how best is the product. Okay, anything else?
And security.
Yeah, security. If this is not there, we don't even buy the product. So yeah, security is a fundamental thing. Okay, I'll give you one example. You bought, again, this is a very nice example in almost all the product demos you see. The moment you say shoes, what is the first brand you come in the space of sports? If you want to buy shoes, if you want to play cricket or volleyball,
Nike.
why that brand first comes into your mind, guys?
Flexibility.
It's been promoted by celebrities.
Exactly. Second thing, even if a product is promoted by the top celebrities, the one fundamental thing, if they don't offer and if it is not good, who might be the promoter of the product will never be a hit model. Okay, so this is what the famous quote from Steve Jobs. He always believed in customer support and how best you handle the customer when he reaches you with a concern. So for example, you buy any Nike shoes, guys. Nike shoes falls under the category of, or Nike shoes falls under the category of premium category. You bought these shoes by paying 10,000 bucks and you wore it for running, and you felt that the comfort of the shoes are not good. You tried it for 1 week and you just go back to the Nike showroom and they tell that the Nike shoes are looking good, but at the same time, I think I'm not feeling much comfortable. What best can you do? Immediately they say, you, sir, you're looking for a refund or you want a another shoes of your choice. They don't even ask, I'll check with my manager or I'll check with the support team and I'll get back to you. No, the moment you go there, the very first thing that they'll ask you, okay, sir, no problem. What exactly you're looking for? You want a refund of the product, or you're looking for a replacement of the product, or you want to try something else in the showroom that we have? Versus what if some other brand, if you go with the same complaint with some XYZ brand, if they say, no, sir, there are a lot of people who are using this product. You're the first person who says that maybe I need to talk to my manager. My manager is on leave. You please come back after 1 week. Again, you go after 1 week. And after 1 week, if that guy says, sir, we have examined the product. My manager says that it's all looking good. The best thing that we can do is you can just go with the replacement of it, or we can't do anything because you have used 1 week of it. We can't do anything. Which one is the best customer support? Option 1 or option 2?
Option 1.
Exactly. When you are selecting any product, the first thing that you look at it when you fulfill what you want, customer support. Who gives you the best customer support? That company will have very high customer base. In that space, Amazon has the best support possible in the cloud space. I worked with all the 3 clouds. Okay, so Amazon cloud again still falls under the category of one of the best possible customer experience. So keeping the customer experience and customer support, okay, that means if you buy a product and if you land into any issue, how best the product can be given support is referred as customer support. If you want to select any product, companies will go with customer support. So in that customer space, the Red Hat operating system, okay, so Red Hat is a brand name, Red Hat Linux. Okay, Red Hat Linux or Red Hat Enterprise Linux, okay, falls under the category of top-notch customer support. For example, if a bank having 1,000 servers, 1,000 Linux servers, they have an option to choose any operating system of your choice. They can also go with some certain flavors of Linux where they don't have to pay anyone, but they want to go with companies which gives the best possible support. In that space, majority of the companies, 90+% of the companies or their production servers uses Red Hat servers. Okay, so Red Hat is known for one of the best customer service. So you name something, they help you, they connect with you, they'll ensure that your issue is resolved. Okay, and they don't even simply say that looks like it's not an operating system issue, it's an application issue. No. In order to say that, they give you a lot of root cause analysis, and even though it is not their issue, they still try to be on the call, and they are even ready to talk to your application team. That's one of the best customer support that Red Hat offers, and that's one of the reason, even though Red Hat Linux licensing is too costly, still majority of the people are behind customer. As I said, even though your product looks premium, the customer support is something which ensures you hook to that product. Okay, so in that space, Red Hat Linux is a top notch, and that's the reason we are going to use Red Hat Linux in our training. Okay, so there are huge variety of Linux distributions or Linux brands. So among all, okay, there are 2 varieties. So one, you take any of the operating system, either it will be from Red Hat or it will from the Debian. So let me try to show you that. Linux distributions list. Okay, so because in interviews they'll ask you, hey, what flavors of Linux you are aware of, what distributions of Linux you have worked on. Okay, and some people also use what all flavors of Linux you have used. In any of the case, all 3 of them remains the same. Okay, so Linux distributions list, if you look for any nice image, yeah, this is the image. I don't know why this image is not showing up. Yeah. So if you see this image, guys, from 1992 to till date, okay, for example, they are showing till 2022. That means till current date, how many people have cloned or how many people have copied the operating system and they added features and how many of them were branded. That means you can see, if you see any operating system, you can see from where they have cloned. Okay, in that space, there are two varieties. Either the operating system can be from Debian, whatsoever the 300 plus flavors that you see here. Either it will be a initial copy or clone from Debian, or it will be a copy or clone from Red Hat Linux. One among them. Okay, one among them. Where is this Red Hat? Yeah, can you see this? Either it will be from Red Hat or Linux. So for example, Red Hat has created an operating system. And for example, if you see this, okay, they released something called as Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And again, if you see this, Oracle is a company which has cloned from the Red Hat. Again, they named it or rebranded it as Oracle Enterprise Linux. And if you see this, CERN is another flavor of Linux. And if you see this, CentOS is a 100% copy or 100% clone of your Red Hat operating system. So each and every one as per the requirement. For example, Facebook is a company, if they need 20,000 Linux servers, and if they don't have the feature that they're looking for, what they do is they might take the code from the Red Hat and they can add the features as per the business requirement of Facebook, and they can name it as F Linux or Facebook Linux or Linux Face, anything they can name. So in that context, in that keeping that flow in mind, there are 300 plus variants. So you can ask me, hey Manu, since Linux is an ocean, do I need to learn all 300 of them? No. If you just learn one, rest of them works the same way. But here and there, certain commands will change, but 99%, the concept remains the same. Since majority of the market is on the top of Red Hat, we'll end up consuming Red Hat. Okay. Again, Red Hat licensing is very, very costly. So if you are having 1,000 servers, for example, if you are having 1,000 servers in your project and you want 1,000 servers, and if you decided the servers to be Linux, okay, so usually servers are categorized based on the production, like production servers, which are nothing but customer servers, and pre-prod and servers, or some QA servers, which is nothing but testing servers, and your development team uses development servers. So if you're having these many varieties of servers, again, paying 100 licensing for Linux is a very costly deal. What they do is they go with 250 pre-prod, 250 prod Linux, 250 pre-prod Linux, and they might go with, okay, since this is QA environment, they go with a cloned copy called as CentOS. CentOS and Linux are 100% cloned copy. Okay, so can also go with this. But if you go with Red Hat Linux, you need to pay licensing fees. How the licensing fees varies, okay, we'll talk about it. Okay, because as I said, if you are applying for some senior roles and all, selection matters a lot. When you join any company, guys, if you want to have some, if you want to be recognized quick, or if you want to shine like a star, the very first thing that you need to do when you join any company is understand what the project is and what's the business of the project and what is the infrastructure they hosted and why it is using this operating system, this server and all. Try to find where your company is spending more and suggest them this can be done better. And if you do this way, you can reduce the billing 20%, 30%. So this way you'll have some better recognition in the team. You join any project, and if you want to be recognized by the team, the first thing that you need to help them out is cost reduction, because it doesn't mean that the people who are working already are not skilled enough, because the same team is you working from a very long time. You as a fresh person looks the things in a different perspective, is going to add a lot of value. Okay, so majority of the companies this goes with this way. All production or customer facing servers or the pre-prod servers, they go with Red Hat. And rest of them, they go with CentOS or Ubuntu as per the demand, but majority of them go with CentOS. CentOS is also a 100% clone of your Red Hat, but still it is an open source. If you use Red Hat at enterprise, you need to pay the licensing fee. And if you are going with CentOS, you don't have to pay anyone. Okay. And since we are talking about licensing, I want to talk about how Windows licensing works and how Linux licensing works, because that gives you a great idea to start. So guys, you bought a laptop. I'll give you a couple of things. You bought a laptop and that laptop has, okay, you want to buy a laptop and you got a laptop. And that laptop is, for example, you're using Lenovo laptop. This is a Lenovo laptop and you're using Windows 11. So if you are buying genuine licensed version of Windows, you need to pay. If you are in India, you need to pay 5,000 rupees, right? Agree? 5,000 rupees licensing for this computer, which you bought it for the personal use. So again, Windows will ask you to pay licensing fees. Definitely no, right? So this is how the personal usage works. For example, if you buy a computer, in the personal use case, this is how things work, right? For example, if you buy the same Lenovo computer of Windows 11 in corporate, okay, for example, if you are working for a corporate company, okay, so the same Windows computer, the same Windows 11 computer, which is of Lenovo hardware, do you think that they pay 5,000 rupees? No, the enterprise licensing is different for Windows. Okay, and for example, it might cost you 10,000 rupees per computer. And at the same time, if you pay 10,000 rupees, it doesn't mean that all the 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, or 6 years, you can use the same operating system. No, for every 3 years, okay, you need to pay the license. Okay, when you are using any computer at enterprise in your company, every 3 years, you need to buy the license. You need to renew the license in Windows space. And that's the reason, if you observe in corporate companies, for every 3 years, they'll try to sell the laptops to the vendors, or there are a lot of secondhand laptops where they used to sell these laptops and they give you a new laptop, because again, they need to pay the licensing, and that licensing is a little costly. Okay, so this is one of the reason why Microsoft products are little tricky and little expensive when compared to that. And at the same time, this is just a client-based machines, which is nothing but the computers which are used by you. Okay, for example, if you buy a server, you want to run some Windows operating system on a top of a server. Okay, again, servers operating system are of client-based and server-based. And Windows 11, Windows 10, all these are client versions, which is nothing but personal versions, which are designed for an engineer to use, which is designed for one person to use. So, but if you talk about a server, a server is also a big computer, but it is designed to handle load of a number of people. Okay, it is not designed just to handle one person. It is designed to handle the workload of a number of users. Okay, for example, this is a server which is having Windows operating system, but Windows 2018. Okay, this is Windows 2018. You know what? For example, if this server is having 32 GB of RAM and it is having 16 processors, and this server will be used by 300 users. Okay, that means in your company, you're having 300 users. You want to have 300 user accounts access to this server. This is that. Now, you know what? How the licensing at server level works at Windows? Number of CPUs that you use, number of users that access this system, and based on the size of your company. If yours is a small company, the licensing cost will work a different way. If you are is a big company, your licensing costs vary. That means it's clearly your licensing is based on the number of CPUs that you consume and the number of users that you access this system. So also based on the size of the company. When I say size of the company, so small companies will have lesser number of employees. So at that time, the size of the licensing fee would work in a different way. If yours is a big company and based on the user count, the licensing will work in a different way. So for example, you come here, Windows Server licensing cost 2022. Come here. Just see this, how that works. Okay, so what they're telling, if you are looking for Windows 22 edition, if you're going for a data center edition, and it is core based, that means your licensing is based on the cores. That means if your computer is having core based on the number of CPUs, okay, so there is a count. If you are having 4 CPUs per year, you need to pay $6,155. So for example, if you are using a standard edition, okay, and based on the number of cores, you need to pay 1,069. Or if yours is a very small company where you are having in between any of the number of people, 25 to 50, either if your company is lesser than number of employees 50, then the licensing is based on some other thing. And here, if you see this, there is a lot of difference between 6,000 and 500. Based on the size of the company, also licensing vary. Okay, so if you're having 1,000 servers, the Linux licensing fee, the licensing fee that you pay would be very, very costly. Okay, so even though you run a small server or a big server, based on the number of users that you have or the size of your organization, your licensing would vary. What if you're having 1,000 servers? Do you think that you can afford 1,000 servers? It's not like you buy a license, it works forever. For every 1 year, you need to renew. Okay, so based on the number of CPUs, based on the number of what is the size of the company, based on the number of users who access this machine, the licensing cost. And if you're having 1,000 servers, you need to pay 1,000 licenses. It's a very, very costly thing. Okay, but the licensing of Windows don't work that way. Okay, and Windows licensing is not based on the number of users. Sorry, Linux. Is not based on the user licensing. Okay, so Linux licensing, it's based on support you want. Okay, so for example, if you want, okay, 24/7 support, for example, whenever you got any issue, 24/7 I want, then the licensing fee will be different. For example, you don't want 24/7, you just want 5 days of support. If you want 5 days, you don't want 24 hours, maybe you don't want night 10 to morning 10, you don't want, you just need 12-hour supports during business hours, and you just need 5 days per day. Okay, that means you don't need your support on Saturday, Sunday, then your licensing will be different. Okay, for example, if you go with text-based support, that means whenever you are having any sort of issues, you can email them, they'll get back to you with chat, but you don't have a call support. But if you want call-based support, the support will be different. Okay, this is how the Linux, okay, the Red Hat Enterprise Linux support works. So for example, Red Hat Linux license. Okay, here they use the word called as subscription. Okay, they don't use the word called as Linux. So what they're telling, if you just want to use Red Hat Enterprise Linux, okay, that means if you work for some service companies, majority of the companies, they also give their engineering teams either MacBook or Red Hat Linux book, okay, Red Hat Linux operating system. So if you want to go with that, you just need to pay $350. Okay, every year you need to pay $350. That's it. Okay, and if you want to go with the data center edition, which is nothing but server based edition, you need to pay $2,500 per year. Okay, but if you just want to go with workstation, that means which is nothing but your normal servers or your virtual machines, you need to pay $179. Okay, so for example, if you want to run this on the top of IBM machines, you need to pay one type of it. Okay, this is one way, and you also need to pay for the support they're looking for. Okay, so Red Hat support models. So there is some page, Red Hat customer support pricing. There's licensing is a little different. Okay, not license, subscriptions are a little different. Red Hat subscription model. Not able to find that. Maybe they just removed that page. (24/7) support cost. Yeah, this. So these are the type of supports that they offer. So self-support and standard-based support and premium support. So if you are going with premium support, access to their support team 24/7 for all high severity issues, and access to support engineers during business hours. Yes, if you go with premium, you get it. For example, if you go with self-support, you will have access to the Red Hat products. Okay, and you don't have access to support teams or 24/7. Okay, what exactly you want is something you need to select. This is how their licensing, their subscription model works, keeping them one of the effective cost insensitive solution. And that's one of the reason why Red Hat is highly adopted, and that's one of the reason why majority of the companies go with Linux. And if they want to choose enterprise Linux, they go with Red Hat. And that's one of the reason why Red Hat is very popular. Okay, all right, guys. So Manu, you're telling that without Linux, things are, without Linux, it's not possible to start your cloud or DevOps journey. If I want to start learning Linux, what are all the options that I can learn? How can I learn Linux? How can I start learning Linux? How can I start learning Linux? Let's try to see that. There are a lot of options that are available. One is you can have a Linux laptop. You can have a Linux laptop. And you can learn Linux, all the commands on the top of it. That is one option. Or you can have a VM on your computer on top of Oraclebox. Oraclebox is a software which has the capability to run multiple operating systems, like any operating system of your choice. Not mainframe, IBM, Linux, and all supported operating systems. And the third option is Katacoda, okay, sandbox environment. Okay, a test environment, or create a server on AWS cloud and learn Linux and start learning Linux there. Okay, these are the options that are available. Okay, these are the options that are available. But in our training, which option do we prefer go with to learn Linux? So you might have a Linux laptop, but you don't get 100% features what you get in a Linux server. So we don't choose this option. Okay, and you can have a VM on the top of the computer, and still you don't get 100% of the features, because in training we go with production grade principles. And even here you get an immediate server, but you don't get all 100% features of Linux. So enforcing us to start consuming a server on the top of AWS cloud. And this is where we are going to start learning AWS and Linux on the top of it. Okay, so what we are going to do is, in our training, we are going to create a server on AWS cloud, and we are going to start learning Linux on the top of it. As I said, this training majorly focuses on how things work at production, how things work in real-time. Keeping that in mind, we designed the course. So with that context in mind, we are going to start working or start learning Linux on the top of an AWS cloud. Okay, so we are going to have an AWS cloud account created, and on the top of the AWS cloud, we are going to create our servers, and on the top of it, we are going to learn Linux. Okay, so Manu, but I don't have an AWS account. How can I create an AWS account? So how to create an AWS account? Let's talk about that. Okay. how to create an AWS account. So before that, understand this point. AWS offers you a free account for 12 months. Okay. And you can use majority of the services for free. Okay, when I say free, if you follow my tips, you end up paying just 100 to 200 rupees per month. That's it. Okay, I'm going to ensure that you're going to spend 100 rupees per month, but you can consume almost all the resources if you follow my tips. Okay, you can use majority of the services absolutely free. And third thing, okay, start adopting the cloud terminology starting from today. Okay, so AWS offers you a free account. If you want to create an AWS account, how to create an AWS account? The only prerequisites that I expect is you should have is valid Gmail account, valid Gmail account, and second thing, you should have credit or debit card. Okay, Amazon wants to ensure whether you are a human being or not, whether the account is created by a bot or a human. They want to check whether you're a real human who has a real credentials, because robots don't have bank accounts. So they want to ensure that you're a real user. And to create AWS account, they would deduct 2 rupees if you're in India, $1 if you're in United States. So 2 rupees will be deducted and they'll credit back just to ensure that it is a valid account. Okay, again, and then they will credit back. Okay, if you want to create an AWS account, because we are going to learn everything on the top of cloud, we are going to implement everything on the top of AWS cloud. And to do that, all I expect is you should have a valid AWS account. And to do that, you should have one Gmail account. You should have a bank account with a credit or debit card and 2 rupees. All right. So I could see a couple of questions. Don't think I'm not answering, guys. I'm going to cover all of them. Just wait for a couple of minutes. Okay. So if you want to create an AWS account, you just come here and just say AWS account. That's all. Just say AWS account. Okay. Click this. AWS free tier account. Okay, so if you want to use AWS free tier account, okay, so what this is the same account that even your company uses. Okay, so if you want to create a free tier account, Amazon gives you a free account. It's a trial account, which is free. The account is free all the time, but Amazon gives you all the services for free for 12 months, 1 year. So these are the services that you can avail as a part of the free tier. You can run server per month 250 hours. You can consume 5 GB of storage. You can also use databases for 750 hours and all of these things. Amazon OpenSearch service. Okay, so a lot of services which we might not be aware at this point of time, but we can consume all of them absolutely free if you follow these guidelines. Okay, and Amazon is the only cloud provider which is going to offer you an account for 12 months. Rest of the cloud providers will give you free account for 1 month or for 3 months. This is the only service which offers you 1 year of free account, and you can use this and you can learn most of it. So I expect you guys, in order to start learning Linux, to create servers, what I expect from you guys is create an AWS account. Okay, if you want to create an AWS account, so let me share how to create an AWS account. Okay, just made a small note. So just type, okay, 1 second. Okay, just type AWS free tier account in the Google, and then click create AWS account or click a free tier account. And then you need to enter your Gmail address or your email address, whatsoever it may be, and then give a name of your choice. For example, if your name is Millie Bobby Brown, just enter your name Millie Bobby Brown and verify the email address. You will get an one-time password, and you need to enter that one-time password, and then you need to configure your password. So ensure you configure the right password, and that will be the password that you'll be using to sign into your AWS account. Okay. The moment you configure the password, it asks you enter your personal details, whether it is for the business account or whether it is a personal account. Ensure you select this account is for personal use. And once you select it is for the personal use, enter your details. What is your phone number? What is your name? Where are you going to stay? These are my details when I was creating an account, and just click on continue. The moment you click on continue, you'll get a page that if you want to sign up, ensure you supply your credit or debit card. If you're using credit card, your account will be activated in less than 1 hour. If you're using debit card, it will take a minimum of 20 to 24 hours of time. Okay. If you're having a credit card, prefer using credit card, guys. Okay. So enter your credit card. In case if you don't have, use a debit card, and enter the expiry details and personal details. And entering the details is absolutely safe in Amazon. Even the government companies uses Amazon. Amazon is a secure, it has cleared almost all the security certifications. And it asks you if you're accessing this account from India, it asks you, do you have a PAN card? Just say I don't have a PAN card. Ensure you say that you don't have a PAN card, and what type of support that you're looking for Amazon. Okay. Now, the moment you enter all these details from bank, you will get, okay, from bank you'll get what you get is ₹2 will be you will get an OTP telling that Amazon has requested ₹2 from your account, and this is the OTP. Enter the OTP and just verify yourself. Then ₹2 will be deducted from your account. Once the ₹2 are deducted, that means your account will be activated in very short time. And the next option is you need to select what plan that you want, what type of support. Okay, so selecting the plan gives you that kind of support that you're looking for. For example, you are an open source developer, you need to pay $29 for the developer support. And if you're a company business, you need to pay $100 for the level of support. And if you pay business support, you will get all of these things. And you can go with free support, because most of the things I'll help you guys. So you don't have to pay anything. Just go with basic support and click on sign up. That's it. We are good. Okay. Then you get an email telling that, hey, your account is activated. You are good to use it. You're good to use it. So once your account is activated, you can sign into Amazon like this. Just say AWS. Okay. And you got an option called as sign into the console. And enter the email address. You have two options, root user and IAM user. Ensure you select the root user. That is the default option. However, enter the Gmail address that you have used to create an account. Click on this and enter the password. And I have configured my, okay, this option you don't get it, because for extra security, I have enabled multi-factor authentication. So I have to enter my username and password. And the moment you enter into it, you are signed in. That's all. Okay. So these are the, if you click on this, these many services are offered in Amazon. You name something, you get it here. Okay. So here you also have an option to select a particular country. So because if you are working for a company in Germany, you should not store the data in India. If you are working for a company, the data of that particular country should not be stored in somewhere else. Okay. Each and every company and each and every country their own regulations. Based on that, you will be selecting. And if your business is based out of India, you need to create your infrastructure in India. If your business is based out of states, you need to create your infrastructure in states. Okay. So what is a region? What is a zone? All of these things we'll cover tomorrow. And that's for today. If you have any questions, I'm happy to address them. And the assignment for tomorrow is I want you guys to install assignment for you. Create an AWS account and get that activated. Because I don't want to teach on some test environments or sandbox. We prefer going with the production grade. Create an AWS account and ensure your account is to sign in. Okay, few of the people might already have AWS account, but do not use it. Try to create a brand new AWS account, because if you already have an AWS account, you would have ran out of the limits, or you would have done some changes that will cause a lot of problems to you. So the best suggestion is try to create an AWS account and activate that account and ensure you are able to sign into that account. So from tomorrow, we are going to start consuming the services on AWS, and in AWS, we are going to start with EC2, and on the top of the server, we are going to learn Linux. And that's for today. Any questions, anyone? I'm good. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Okay. So yeah, and another thing, guys, meeting link remains the same. Whatever the meeting link that you're using, meeting link remains the same. Meeting link remains same, and session will start by 6 a.m. IST as mentioned. Till further notice, there won't be change. Okay, there won't be any change on the meeting. There won't be any change in the meeting link. Till further notice, the meeting link remains the same. And most of you would have got a meeting recording. In case if you have not received the meeting recording, just please do check with your coordinator. And in case if you don't get it, just please check the number here. So this is the link that you're using, right? And here you have an option, point of contact, Bobby Brown, and just reach out to them. Hey, I'm not receiving the session recordings. They'll give you. In case if you're receiving the session recordings, you're awesome. Okay. And also I'm going to publish the document that I have used to create an AWS account along with the session recording. And that's for today, guys. Okay. So tomorrow, please join by 6 a.m. IST and please use the same meeting link, guys. Okay. And there won't be any changes in the batch timings, and batch timings remain the same. Okay. Monday to Saturday, morning 6 to 7:30 India time, or Sunday to Friday, 8:30 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And I'm good. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask your questions. I'm good. I'm good to take up the questions. Let me take up the questions in the chat window. So is Red Hat also charging for support? Yes, Rahul. Red Hat also charges for support. The only thing that they charge is for support. Yes, based on the type of support they enroll, you need to pay for it. Was Unix not on the open source category? So Mukesh, no, Unix is not an open source. Okay, so HP has their own variety of Unix, which is called as HP Unix. IBM has their own Unix, which is called as AIX. So each and every company has their own sort of open source, or has their own variety of Unix. But yeah, Unix is sunset. Okay, we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so I'm already having an AWS account. It's more than 1 year. Should I create a brand new? I think Rahul, I addressed that. Ensure you create a brand new account so that you will get full tire limit. Where can I see this session recording? So Devi Prasad, just I think I just demonstrated now. Just reach out to the coordinator. They will be sharing you. In case if you haven't received it, just reach out to the person where you have joined the meeting link. On the same meeting link, you will get it. Okay, so hi, if I have already created an mail ID card, so that's fine. So someone is asking if I have already created an AWS account with some XYZ credit or debit card, can I use the same to create a new account? Yes, you can create. I think I answered all the questions. Perfect. Anything else, guys? So you can raise your hand. I can give you an option to talk. I could see Sandeep, Ajay, Karthik. Just guys, just speak, unmute and talk.
Yeah, Manu, one quick question. So
Go ahead.
regarding the Red Hat, right?
Mhm.
So you mentioned CentOS and other actually flavors that comes and takes it from there. So do they actually pay it when they clone it from their Red Hat
No need.
system? Then
They don't have to.
so anybody can pick up that version and then clone themselves?
Yeah, you can. Unless until you're using their brand name, you don't have to pay. But if you are making money out of it by using the same name, then you need to pay.
Okay.
And if you see this, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, they are cloning the code and they're rebranding it as Oracle Enterprise Linux. Oracle Enterprise Linux and Red Hat Linux almost 99.99% same.
So they every time they
Oracle
use
also,
it, they pay it, or they
they
just
don't have
pay
to
it
pay.
one time?
They don't have to pay because they're using the different brand name, right? And if you want to use Enterprise Linux, you need to pay to Oracle. Okay, but Oracle offers support for lesser amount of money when compared to Red Hat. Okay, it depends on trade-off. Okay, so each and every company has some specific guidelines. In this company, everyone is supposed to use Red Hat Linux only, or everyone is supposed to use only Ubuntu only. There are some conditions as per your organization standards. As per that, we need to use. To answer your question, no, they don't have to pay unless until you are using the same product with the same. Okay, Sandeep, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, the recordings are uploading in the YouTube. So, will you be sharing separate recordings for us?
Same recording, right? Why separate? Same
Yeah.
recording, Sandeep.
Yeah.
You are getting it, right?
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Same recording.
Manu, I have a question. Like, do we have a training schedule? Like, what all the topics would be covered each day? Like, do we have a planner?
We don't go that way. because how we design the course is, okay, so we don't go with a specific plan telling that today this topic, because how we go is we open the latest version of the document. For example, if we are going with Red Hat, we'll open the latest documentation from Red Hat, which version 6 or 7, and we are going to take all the topics from there. Okay, if I give you some table of content, it might not be having certain things. I might be covering more. Okay, so we'll take an open source document, the latest version. From there, we are going to consume everything. Okay, and also giving you some sort of schedule ensures me to stick only to the topic, and that also bounds me not to teach something else. And I'm going to give you the topic. The content is something we are going to cover almost all the best possible options. And for example, if you see Git itself is an ocean, and Linux itself is an ocean. So the reason why you'll be you're hiring me as a trainer is to eliminate all the crap out of it and try to take what is needed for us. Okay, we are going to cover what is needed, not everything which doesn't make sense. Okay, because Red Hat Enterprise certification itself costs you 6 to 8 months of time, but there is no point for us to learn everything. We learn what is needed. Okay, we'll go on a need to know basis. That's the best way to start with. Okay, but I can ensure that you are not going to miss the important topics or anything.
Yeah, because that's the most important one. I mean, we wanted to make sure that we are not missing.
You don't worry on it.
Yeah.
I'll take care. Okay, and you'll be a part of the community. You can post anytime of your questions, concerns, queries. It's all yours. Okay.
Okay.
Guys, I'm giving unmute option. Whoever is raising hand, just go ahead and talk.
Manu, just one question regarding the channel. How do we join the channel? I mean, I'm not sure.
You'll get an onboarding email in a couple of days. You can onboard from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I have one question.
Go ahead,
so
please.
actually, yeah, I have already created the AWS account. Okay, no, I was just
guys, 1 minute. In the interest of time, to keep the session recording short, I'm going to stop the recording, but still I can take the session questions. Okay, let me stop the recording.
Yeah.
Just to keep the